Hi, I'm Colin, and this is Sci-Fi Deep Dive. So with SpaceX conducting its first manned launch tomorrow, I figured now would be a time to discuss something vaguely related. You see, SpaceX's goal is to put people on Mars, so I figured, why not talk about Mars? Specifically Mars and one of my favorite science fiction franchises, and that is The Expanse. So today we're going to discuss the series of events that led to the independence of the Martian Congressional Republic in The Expanse. But before we get into that, if you enjoy what you see here today, head down below and hit that subscribe button. I upload at least twice a week, covering everything from Star Wars to Halo, and yes, even The Expanse. So to understand how Mars got its independence in The Expanse, we have to look back to the beginning of Mars colonization. Mars started out as one of the first off-world colonies of Earth. Colonies directly under the control of the United Nations, and generally subservient to the governments of Earth. During this time, many people migrated to Mars, and Mars became its own independent economy. It began functioning much more like a nation-state than, well, a colony. On top of that, the situation on Mars was very different from the situation anywhere else in the solar system. You see, at this time, humanity had really only colonized the Moon and Mars. And unlike the Moon, Mars has an atmosphere. And one of the long-term goals of the colony on Mars is to convert that atmosphere into an atmosphere much more like what's here on Earth. This drive to terraform the planet dominated the Martian psyche. The idea of turning Mars into a new Earth was very prominent. Their goals and the goals of Earth began to sort of differ around this time. It's around this time that the Martians began looking at their relationship with Earth more like the way the colonies would look at the empires of Europe in the 1800s. With Earth seeming more like this imposing imperialist power, Mars became more and more defiant. Acts of defiance went all the way up to founding their own legislature. A legislature which, by the way, behaved much more like that of a sovereign nation than that of any colony or occupied territory. As the situation got worse and worse on Mars, the United Nations decided to step in. They dispatched a massive fleet to pacify Mars. However, the Epstein drive hasn't been developed yet, so at this point, it still takes 6 months for that fleet to reach Mars. During that time, a Martian named Solomon Epstein accidentally develops his Epstein drive. This new form of propulsion revolutionizes interplanetary travel, and that technological marvel was the property of Mars. Knowing they couldn't beat the UN in a stand-up fight, Mars didn't have a navy at all at this point, they opted to try to find a peaceful solution that would guarantee their independence. As a result, the technology to develop the Epstein drive was traded for Martian independence. This gave both Mars and Earth the capabilities to build these new, more advanced forms of propulsion. It also made Mars an independent state officially recognized by the nations of Earth. The independent Martian Congressional Republic was a powerhouse when it came to technology. The best and the brightest Earth had to offer had gone to Mars to colonize it and begin work on the terraforming project. Those scientists were now citizens of an independent Martian nation. As such, their inventions would propel Mars to become one of the most technologically advanced powers in the system. If all this Mars stuff is fascinating to you, you might want to watch SpaceX's launch tomorrow. Tomorrow, SpaceX will launch a Crew Dragon with 2 American astronauts on it. It'll be the first time Americans have launched to space from American soil on an American rocket since 2011. It will also be the first time SpaceX put people in space, which is a major step on their road to sending people to Mars. If you want to watch the launch tomorrow, which is scheduled for 4:33 p.m. Eastern Time, I'll leave a link down below in the description to NASA's live stream where they'll be broadcasting the launch in its entirety. And I want you to tell me in the comments how realistic you think Martian independence is. Do you think the scenario put forth by The Expanse is believable, or do you think it's a little too out there and crazy? And if you enjoyed what you saw here, you just want more sci-fi discussions, head down below at the subscribe button and the bell icon so you get notified when I upload new videos. So for Sci-Fi Deep Dive, I'm Colin, and I will see you next time.